Jesus' name, amen. All right. All right. Let me do a couple things here because I am a little discombobulated this morning. Came directly from the gym straight here to get some stuff going. So let's get moving orders, and I know what I need to do. I gotta grab something off of here. Bear with me here, guys, because I gotta pull something. Where are my sketch covers? This is it right here. Because somebody asked, how do I do my chains? So I want to make sure that I cover that topic today. And where's my share button? All right. To myself. Got it. All right. So I got to get a couple of these samples here, and then I can get started. And this one I got to send to myself. Okay. That one. Last one, guys, and then we'll get back to the stream. Where is it? Where did you go? I know I have it in here. Did I move it? No, I know I didn't move it. Well, I'm going to have to find it. I don't know where it's at right now, so I'll have to just come back to that later. Okay, so let's get back into it. Hey, Barbara, welcome. Welcome to the stream. So this morning, I have a couple different things I'm going to be working on. I'm definitely going to continue working on my card series because, again, I'm down to my last little bits of the marble spot. And since you're new here, let me give you the spiel. Okay. So this is my Marble 100 series. It's actually one of many of the series that I'm doing, but this is the first one. It's all Marvel based. So the collection as a whole is going to be 1,000 cards, 10 different categories, and in those categories, there's 100 different cards. So, like I said, I'm working on Marvel right now. I've been able to make things like Juggernaut and stuff like that. Just to give you a sample, this is a page of one of the characters that are available. So if there's characters that you might want or that you might want to add to your collection, give to somebody, something like that, definitely hit me up. Let me know. They'll be added to they'll be checked off the list. How you doing, Gail? I'm sorry, Gabe. What's going on, Custom? They'll be added to the list and taken off. But that's basically what we're looking at today. So I'm looking at that. Let's see if maybe I can knock out the Spider-Man real fast because he's not a very difficult character to do. And then we're going to start working on one of the pieces for custom. So, but I can show you that mock-up right now. Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing this morning? Okay, so here is the mock-up for the Spawn cover. And this is a roughie of it. Very, very rough. Now, I don't have the chains in there on this one because I was trying to clean up some stuff, but this is the general idea for what I'm looking to do. And then This is the one I'm going to be doing for, I think it's Sullivan. No, 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 no. It's one of my other clients. Um, he requested that I do black cat button a kimono. So this is that black cat. Obviously not on a Transformers cover. That was just the one I had available on my iPad to sample from. All right, so let's do the Spider-Man first, and then, like I said, we'll go into doing the Spawn cover next. So I did do a mock-up or I did a roughie of the Spider-Man last week. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. We did. Somebody requested a while ago that I do a Spawn that was Venomized. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. He came out really, really cool. I know a Spawn that is a Transformer. That'd be really cool. What's up, Amsterdam? Yeah, TMNT Spawn would be dope. That's actually not a bad idea. I have a show I'm doing this weekend, so I might throw one of those down. We'll see. Definitely going to give you credit for it if I do it. I have this guy that when I go to these shows, because it's a card show, sorry, not card, it's a comic book artist showcase. So what they do is they let us artists come in there and we do artwork for customers. And this guy always comes in and he gives me the most obscure things to do, but they're always mechs. He loves for me to draw mechs. That's his thing, because he knows that there are people that are that are specialized at certain things, and he likes the way that I create them. So he's given me some crazy things to do, like a weird version of Optimus Prime. Um, these other cards that I don't know anything about, but it's cool to get those kind of requests because it's not stuff that I normally do. And I like that. So you got to make something really hard. Like I have this one. It's not a commission, but it's a raffle that somebody won back in November, and it's this very odd looking character. I think he's from like Final Fantasy, but he's one of those monsters that you can summon. And when I did the raffle, I basically said to the people, I said, okay, you put in $1, you get a chance of getting a piece of artwork. Okay, so no problem. We ended up making, I think, like $50 for the weekend on that raffle. So I mean, it cleared itself. Um, but then I got this request from this kid, and I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. And I looked it up. I'm like, whoa. So I've been trying to slowly but surely get to it to knock it out, but it's a big project. And I thought I was going to be able to do it small for him. So this kid's actually going to get an upgrade, a free upgrade, only because I don't think I can do what he wants justice. And you know what? I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, it's going to make somebody really happy. That's actually a cool request. And you could probably smash that. That's probably a good piece if you did it. So custom, I don't know if you got a chance to take a look at Painter's work, but he sent it to me, but I don't think he posted it. But he just did a Green Lantern. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It is stunning. It's like almost unfair how good it is. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. That's the kind of stuff that I know is gonna definitely sell. People just like salivate over that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm hoping that he will post that so that way somebody can pick that up because granted, it's not something that will fit what you're doing, but it is a good piece of artwork. Yeah, why don't you share your Instagram on here, Gabe? That way, just in case if somebody wants to check out your stuff or commission you for something, that way you can you guys can connect. Either that or send it on a message, one of the two. There is Spidey. Spidey's not a hard character to do, not at all. He's probably one of the easiest characters to do. Oh man, let's see here. And custom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the mock-up with the chains so you can see that piece for your spawn cover because that thing is it's sick. Well, I think a lot of people get messed up with Spider-Man because of his like the webbing on his suit. But once you get past, that part of it, it's not that bad. The biggest part of doing Spider-Man is making sure that you get a good like sizing for him because he's not a bulky guy. He's more like got the young adult look to him. So he's still built, but he's still slender at the same time. And then on top of that, it's just making sure that muscle structure wise, he looks good. But all in all, I mean, he's really not a complicated character. I mean, I think a lot of people have a problem drawing him because they're trying to make him too dynamic. And I would just focus in on the shapes before I go ahead and worry about all the craziness that goes with completing him. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to draw the hell out of some Spider-Man. Well, mainly because Todd McFarlane was like one of my one of the people I looked up to in terms of the industry. Like he legit changed the game. I remember seeing Spider-Man back in the day, and I would be like, he was kind of boring. And I think it was when I saw Todd McFarlane drawing him along with Eric Larson, I was like, this fucking rocks. Like the styling of him, the movement of him was the stuff. Oh, I'm going to have to move that spider web. That's not cool. That was a mess up on my part. I was not paying attention. Well, that's the cool thing about a spider web. You can change all that stuff up. It's no big deal. Yep. So I'm kind of sad for this weekend because I was so anticipating to see the Doomsday trailer and they decided not to drop it. I guess that was more or less us speculators were like, we're going to get a trailer at the Super Bowl because it's got the most eyes. But, realistically, that would have been the best time to show it. However, if you're a marketing agent and even at Disney, I mean, you don't want to spend $10 million for a second clip. Make it worthwhile. I mean, when they were trying to do Civil War and they were doing the Winter Soldier, that made sense because those were much cheaper to do, and they were really starting out, so that was a lot harder to gain audience. So you had to do those kind of things. I don't know when we're going to see a trailer for this, unless they're going to wait until after the Super Bowl. They don't have any major movies coming out to push this thing, so it's weird. Yeah, I got to take a look at the Fox slate. Maybe they have something that's coming out through there. Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. I can tell you this much with Disney, they're trying to be very strategic on how they market this thing because you remember no like less than a couple years ago we had Wicked that came out. Now, mind you, not a lot of people knew what Wicked was unless you'd seen the play or read the book. Um and they had to get the word really out there. So that was the movie premiered in November. The first trailer for it came out in at the Super Bowl, right? With this particular movie, they have to figure out one what they want to show and what they don't want to show. And timing is everything. It really is. And you have Spider-Man coming out what in July, I think it is, or June. Um, you just had Wonder Man that just dropped a couple weeks ago or a week ago. So you don't want to give people too much. However, I think the buzz needs to really like kick up. I don't know what they were doing with the whole, snippets during Christmas, other than kind of like reminding people of, hey, we got a movie coming out in a year. The clock is ticking. Like that's the only thing I can think of what they were doing with that. Um, but nobody really knows what's going to happen. I have an idea of based upon some stuff I've heard and rumors that have been told to me. Um, but I don't know if that's entirely true because they're good at you know throwing people off the scent. No, I haven't seen Wonder Man yet. I still have to. I got to watch X-Men '97 first before I watch that. I got caught up this week watching this show called Tell Me Lies, so I didn't have a lot of time to watch that. One of my coworkers was like, you gotta watch this." So I got watching it, and I'm like, "Ah, damn it, I got sucked into it." There's something about watching, dramas that could actually happen um, that are kind of cool to see. That I got to a point where I'm just like, people cannot be this dumb. But yeah, I want to see Wonder Man because I'm curious to see how that all that's going to tie in. I don't like the fact that they're taking Disney Plus characters and putting them into the movies. I don't think it's good because you can't explain it right, or they haven't been able to explain it properly. I shouldn't say they don't explain it right. Yeah, I've had problems with that. Like Miss Marvel, my when my wife and I went to go see that, my wife was like, "Who the fuck is this character?" And I had to explain it to her. I'm like, "Oh, this is a character from Disney Plus." She's like, "I'm not watching that." Yeah, I know it. They dropped the whole thing at one clip, which is good. Um, I don't know if that's the best way for them to drop stuff. I don't think it's very smart to keep the water cooler going. but I'm not. I don't own Disney. I can only give my input as a viewer. I would not do that. The thing about making people wait, there's two parts to it. One, by making people wait, you make more money. Okay, because they have to keep their subscription in order to watch the show. Number two, um, it keeps the ball rolling. It keeps people talking about the show. And unfortunately, if you drop it all in one shot, we're in a mode now, people wise, where we once it's done, it's out of the mind. You know, think about it. The whole Grammys just happened, and people were up in an uproar. Now they're on to the next thing, which is going to the Super Bowl, right? Watch the Super Bowl over the weekend. So it's just very much it's not in the zeitgeist of people. There, oops, that is going to fall. Oh. Uh, all right. Yeah, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. Listen, I'm not a big fan of the Super Bowl. Like, Super Bowl is not for me. However, I do love entertainment, and I do love the fact that we're going to see something culturally that hasn't been done in a while. I do like that. Like, this is like the second time in, I would say, I would say within 10 years that we've had Spanish artists featured as our um, main um, entertainment. What's going on, main perks? So for me, I'm very excited. Here's the thing: I've been to Puerto Rico. I have a lot of Puerto Rican friends. I have a lot of Spanish-based friends. So for me, I'm like, let's put all this political BS to the side. Sit there and get entertained, because you're going to see something that you don't get to see. If you've never been to that country, you don't understand how much fun you're about to have. So look at it from some people need to look at it from that perspective. I don't know Bad Bunny music. I have zero knowledge of him. I knew a little bit of Kendrick Lamar's music. I didn't want to see his Super Bowl halftime, but I enjoyed it. I really did. It was fun. And watching my wife go down the rabbit hole of finding out all the little tidbits and why he did what he did in certain parts of the show was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I see so many people, throwing so much hate around, and Puerto Rico and its people are so good. Yes, there's crime and all that kind of good stuff there, but as a whole, that area is really, really nice. It is very beautiful. It's got a lot of history to it, and people just don't get it. It's all this hate that's been being spewed over this last year that's really made it very, very difficult for people to work together and stop all this BS. But it's going to come to a head. It will. It will. I see all these little haters and everything. I don't know if it's true or not, but I did see this little post today. Um, so it said Kid Rock is doing a show to combat what is going on at the Super Bowl. Now, I don't believe that to be the case. I know that he yeah, I believe that he is all in as far as like America, 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 which is fine. You're good on that end, but America, but without the hate. Yeah, I just wish people would, get past it. And yes, start looking into your faith and really understand that what's about to happen if we keep going down this road, we're looking at a biblical proportion change in our world. It's scary. Like I see in my head, I'm like, I see superpower, us as a superpower going against other countries doing things that we do not need to do. And it's going to hurt us severely. It'll make 9/11 look like a cakewalk, that kind of thing. That's how, like, I'm watching that kind of stuff in my head. I'm like, that's why this hate, it doesn't take but, a little stone to cause all sorts of things to happen. And the weird part is that it's happening from within our country. That's the worst part. And I hate to go down the political route, but it is. I try not to hate anybody. I try not to be a jerk to anybody because at the end of the day, if I show love, then other people will be like, okay, well, let's enjoy this. It's very easy to teach people hate. It's hard to teach people how to love, especially when somebody does something wrong. We talk about something in our church. It's like you need to walk with kindness and a loving heart, right? And unfortunately, a lot of this is not coming from that, even though it's being masked as if it is. There's nobody in the world that can tell me that what's being done is coming from a loving heart. That is bullshit. Let me pull up a reference here. Gotta make sure I get this webbing right, because if I mess this up, I'm screwed. Okay. Sorry, I'm being quiet. But yeah, that's just my thing. No, we actually keep it kind of low key. We're doing it. We tend to watch our Super Bowl here at the house only because I don't like being around a lot of like crazy rowdy people. Um, my my kids usually go off to an event at our church and watch Super Bowl there. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing at the house, relaxing because I can just relax in my house. The weekends are the one time of the week that I don't have to really do a lot of stuff. So I try to be present during that time. And even though my wife is not a huge like Super Bowl fan, we both enjoy good commercials. How about yourself? Are you going out? Do you do parties or anything like that? Well, that makes it fun because then they get all the goodies and everything together, and you guys get some good food, you get some good fellowship, that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. I'm glad that you guys get to do that. That's fun. Yeah, I like it when when I do get to go to something stuff like that. I enjoy it a lot. I just don't do it that often. The last time I think I went to one was when I think it was the Patriots versus the Steelers, and I was at my friend's house, and this is how strong it was at the house. So we have a husband and wife together. The husband is a Patriots fan. The wife is a diehard Steelers fan, and it because the Steelers lost, we didn't see her for the rest of the night. That's how bad and how serious it was up in that house. She was that devastated. His wife was like not happy. She was beyond pissed. So it was pretty darn serious. But that's the fun stuff that I like to see. You know, you have families that are split. And it's fun. But the one thing I definitely do like about stuff like that is that I love the food. The food is what it's all about. What's going on, Kay? Long time no see. You feeling better? Yeah, we're up here talking Super Bowl and what people do. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I am doing quite well this morning. I had to do my gym challenge, and then I came right on here. So I'm doing this for about 3 hours because I got a lot of work that needs to get completed. So today's going to be a very busy day of working. So I figured I'd start off with the sketch card and then I'll work on to the other stuff. I have a show this weekend and I got a very busy weekend. So I have a show this weekend. I have one in 2 weeks. I got Valentine's Day next week. Yeah, thank you. And I was telling them like a couple days ago, which you didn't get a chance to hear. I'm finally going to get my stuff put into a gallery, which I've always wanted to have happen. It is a smaller gallery, but it's a start. It looks good on the resume. Has my stuff been in an art gallery? I'd be like, yes, it has. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be this stuff. I will say that. It's for other artwork that I do, but again, it gets my foot in the door. And like I tell my wife, I said, all you got to do is let me get my foot in the door, and I'm gonna run house or wreck house. All right, so I think that should be almost everything for him to get him done. So, Kay, are you doing any shows anytime soon, or are you gonna take the weekend off and then come back next week? Wow, you're gonna do a Super Bowl Sunday show? Wow, okay. Just kind of use that and kind of tie it in. Do a piece for one piece for the Patriots, one piece for the Seahawks. Oh, okay. Well, just a thought. It's not for everybody. Yeah, I'm just throwing out ideas. I mean, we got to kind of try to. I hate to say it, but we got to kind of work with the trends that are going on right now. So you never know. Somebody might be like, "Oh, that's dope." Catch them while they're hot. Everything is seasonal. Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, just only because if you don't have anything like in the coffer, trying to figure out what you want to do. That's just an idea to throw out there. I just because my son goes to Florida State and my wife is the next Seminoles student. I every time the season comes around, I have a piece that I post up for them. I should do one for my alma mater, but I don't remember what the mascot is for it. I know what the one was for my bachelor's program, but that's changed recently to a falcon from a river. I'm sorry, from a pioneer to a falcon. Oh, perfect. Welcome back, Gabe. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, thank you for saying that because I have to plug in my stuff. There we go. Oh, that's okay. You didn't miss much. We didn't. I mean, it's just a little bit of stuff. Just been throwing in the inks here because as soon as I get done with this, I'm going to go straight to color. Yeah, I so because I have such great students of mine over at my other job, so working for my foster care facility, I run a graphic design program over there. So I've been trying to figure out ways to really get more funds into the program, and it's hard because it is a non for profit. So my program had to slim down, so they backed down my hours and stuff like that. So I have to kind of figure out a way to bring funds in. Luckily, this past over the last month, they've been bringing in different people to fund us, or to hopefully fund us and be part of our board and stuff to bring new and fresh ideas. Well, some of them came through and they were like, they saw some of the work the kids did, and they're like, "We need you to come to this art show in October and showcase your stuff." And literally, one of the ladies was like, "You never know who's watching and who's looking at your work, and they might just drop a nice check off to you." Now, mind you, I don't expect somebody to do that, but it would be nice if somebody was like, "Here's $200 towards your program. I'm going to buy that from you." You know, that would just be like so huge because again, it would help fund what I do there and give me more opportunities to bring more students in. That would be dope. Yeah, I'm going to end up this summer and during the springtime. I'm going from nonprofit to nonprofit, and I'm going to be petitioning them to get them to have us do their graphic design for them because we have the program, and nonprofits have limited resources. We all know that. However, if we can work together, and utilize some of our, facilities instead of having to pay, these large amounts of money to print houses to create these products. We can actually save money. So my goal is to give these kids opportunities to work on these bigger projects, um, add them to their portfolio, build a build a bond with those local companies, and then be able to, bring funds in there. So instead of the company dropping, like a couple grand to a print house, all they have to do is just spend that money for printing, and they give us a smaller portion of that to produce the designs. That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for any little way that's going to put us on top, because the arts are something that are always needed. Kids need to be in the arts. Like, I have no, you know, a lot of people don't believe that, but I 100% believe that kids need to be in the arts. It's essential. It's a good character builder. If anything, it builds confidence because you're doing something. You're being able to be creative. And once you create something, even if it's like woodwork, which we're going to be doing over there at my program, um, woodwork, whether it be sewing, making bracelets, if a kid just gets one of those wins, that's all they need is just one. You can start doing a snowball effect with them. And I told the kids, I said, look, we're going to do some of these string art pieces that I want to do. I already have designs that we can work on. I said, if you guys are able to produce them, what we'll do is we will use those funds and bring them back here, and you guys can end up using that as like a stipend. Like, that'll be extra money for you guys that you get above what you do when you're with me during the regular program. I had this one kid, just so good. And when that person leaves, I'm going to be really sad because I've only had three really good students. I did have a fourth, and she was like really, when I say awesome. Now, she was non-English speaking, but that's okay. She understood English, and when I gave her a task, no matter what the task was, I could walk her through it, and she would go to work, do it, wouldn't say a word to anybody, and got the job done every time. Like, she was flawless. She was so good. And then obviously, as she did it more and more, she gained more and more confidence, and she got better and better and better and better. And that's what we wanted to see happen. The other part that I got to see about is if I can find funding to replace my equipment, because my equipment is, I'm going to say, almost 10 years old, and it's all Macs, which I love Mac. I think they're great computers, but they're very expensive. I'd rather have a PC, and I can build PCs for way less money. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I just got to figure out. But if I can build a business plan, and I can build all the funds together, I don't have to worry about talking to them. All I have to do is just get IT to come in there and put their stuff on it, and I'll have all the equipment, and then I'll have more tools that I can use with the kids. But I think that whole program, getting all the nonprofits that I can get on board, if I can get that done over the next year, we'll be in good shape. I think if we get 5 to 6 good non for profits, that should cover us, and then that way we're able to do a good job with those companies. And I figure if I just get 5 or 6 of them, the word of mouth by itself is going to, spread. Oops, hold on. Let me move that over. There you go. See it. Yeah, it's all these little baby steps. Gotta, Got to go through it. It's a trial. I got informed. Like my boss came to me and she's like, "Hey, Marcus, just gotta let you know, gotta drop your hours." Um, fun without telling me that funding was decreasing. That's what she had to do, and I didn't understand what was going on. But the CEO was very good to address the issue at our Christmas party. Yeah, I mean, you just got to come up with different ways. And I honestly, I love this job, or I wouldn't be doing it. A lot of people be like, "You're kind of insane. Why are you still doing this?" But I love working with kids. I really do. There's just something about that environment that I just haven't, I haven't lost the love for. And I think it's because I like watching kids win. When I was little, I was in the same spot, and my teachers really pushed me to be better at what I was doing. And I feel like kids nowadays need that. Like they need to have people that give a crap. Kids definitely need people that care. It's very important to their growth. And because of the program that I work with, I never would have thought I was going to be working with a foster facility, um, or a group home. um, it makes it even more impactful. What's up, Carper? Ah, how you doing, Melly? I was just real quick, guys. Just got to break off here because I got to show Melly something. So I was just showing off what I'm going to do for your mock-up, but that's your girl in her kimono. So I'm gonna be working on that. I had to push it back a little bit, even though it says it's in in shipping status. I didn't like what I started off with, but I wanted to make sure that I gave you something good. And RC looks really cool in her mock-up, and I'm finishing that up as well. So hopefully I'm gonna jump onto those over the next couple of days and get those out to you before the weekend. That's what my hope is. Try to get a couple of the easier projects that I have on tap done first. Yeah, I just want to make sure you get something really good. RC is going to be dope. I got her mock up all done. I'll have to send that over to you so you can see that. I'll do that today. All right. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to halo this dude with yellow, and we should be good. I meant to ask, how is everybody's weather going? Is the weather around y'all pretty good, or is it being crappy like it is here in Florida? Now I know Custom went when I spoke to him. He said it was 18 degrees in his area. The other day it was, I think, 26 here in Florida. Now, mind you, we don't get a lot of cold, so I apologize if I'm griping about it, but that cold is uncomfortable for us Floridians. It really sucks. They would show reports of people picking up tons of iguanas. One of my students I follow online, he went iguana hunting. He didn't. He literally had to walk down the street, and there's a couple of them sitting right on the road. Well, I mean, for nighttime, I think that's not bad. For the daytime, you know, if that was the daytime temps, I'd be like, nope, no way. What's going on, Josie? Yeah, I complain about the cold weather, but then again, I think about it like we're not too far away from summer, and our summers are pretty brutal. They always talk about heat exhaustion and stuff like that. That's rough. I'd never seen anybody suffer from heat exhaustion until this year. Like even the kids, when I used to do summer camp, I heard kids having heat exhaustion. I never seen it actually happen, but it happened to my wife, and I'm like, this is crazy. It is insane. Yeah, I know. Over there in California, even up in New York, those kind of areas, those it's rough. Like I went to New York one year. I think it was in the hundreds. It was uncomfortable. Oh man, I could only imagine. Like it's like the sun's reflecting on glass. That sucks. Yeah, I mean, going outside, like I would go outside to my car, and it's so hot, like I can't even put my feet on my driveway. So I can only imagine being in the desert. Um, it's probably like our beaches get when it's summer out here. I never thought that you could get like multiple degree burns on your feet, but yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah, we talk we my kids and I were talking about global warming because he and I mean he was like, I don't understand why it's so freaking cold out here. I'm like, that's because we got the global warming happening. He's like, can it be stopped? I said it can be reduced, but unfortunately, because we're in a world where people like to have stuff, it's just going to keep on getting worse. Unless people stop driving and we stop producing things, I mean, it's never going to happen. The growth nowadays is obnoxious. That's why, like I had a really good geography teacher that would talk about weather. Like it was one of his big things because he wanted to be a meteorologist. So he would talk to us about how the weather would change throughout the year. He would talk to us how like our what we do in our world as far as like our production and our pollution and stuff like that. He's like, this is why this is going to happen. He literally like walked us through what was going to happen, and it's happening right now. Yeah, I mean, there's good and bad to all of that stuff. I wish there was a way to slow things down, but we have it's a speed thing. Like we want too much too fast. And the thing is we get so much stuff that some of us are like wasteful. And when we're younger, we're very wasteful, but as we get older, we start being more practical. So we buy things that we need versus things that we want. And we try to maintain those things. That was the benefit of years ago, especially when I was a kid, even young adulthood, um, because we had places like Radio Shack, and we had how you doing, Amanda? We had like these fix it shops, mom and pop fix it shops. So you would buy a TV, right? And if it broke, you took it to them to go and fix it because they were the specialist. Now our thing is that our TV breaks, we go to Best Buy or Walmart and we grab our stuff and we keep on rolling. So there's a big difference there versus, you might have to buy this little part here, replace it, versus buying a brand new TV that has all this plastic and all these other things that we have. Yeah, if we can slow it down, and what's going to end up happening, this is the bad part that's going to happen. It's going to take some really drastic things to happen to affect people for them to be like, oh, we gotta have to do this and we're gonna have to hit the brakes. Problem is, it's gonna happen a little too late. Yeah, see, those places are good. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, you can only do that stuff but for so long, and then it's a problem. I see it more of an issue for like my grandkids than I see for myself. Um, but I don't want that to happen. So hopefully, God willing, that will not happen. I don't want it to happen. I really, really don't. Three or four? I think this got four. I'm gonna have to change that. I'll put that in a different shipping box. Okay. Yeah, I tried to fit four into one shipping box and it's not gonna work. Yeah, but what happens when the world floods and all this kind of good stuff? We end up with another, flooding of the world. What do we do then? We're kind of stuck. Then those underground bunkers and all that stuff, they'll be useless. But what hopefully we won't have to get to that point. You know, I don't want that to happen to anybody. Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. And I'll just, you know, I'm a faithful person. So if I was them to get knocked out today, I'm good. So I can say that with confidence. So we'll see. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, uh, I got to that point as well. I was just like, I'm done dealing with the worriment. I don't have time for that. So I'm going to focus on the things that I'm supposed to focus on, and that's family, friends, my faith, and taking care of people at the end of the day. That's the most important part. I at one point in my life I was like, I'm gonna be a millionaire, but I can't take money with me to the grave. I can take experiences. I can take care. I mean, the experiences of taking care of people, my family, that I can take with me. Nobody can steal that from me. But if I don't make time for it, then I'm stealing that from myself, and that's not what something I'm willing to do. So I'm gonna take every day as if I do every day like as if it's my last. If I was to get taken out, I know that I'm good. Again, not a lot of people can say that with confidence. But what do they say? With age comes wisdom. Yeah, not all of us, get that. I know plenty of people that don't. They're still working on them, and they're quite old. Steve Harvey used to say, "God's still working on them, on me." What's going on, JD? Yeah, we all have a lot to learn, but right now I'm going to learn about becoming a better artist and teaching the next gen. Like I said, my goal is to always, help people be able to function on their own. We raise our kids to be able to do that too, right? We don't want them to be spoiled and entitled. So we teach them how to be better. It's kind of like the other day I had to reach out to one of my students, and I was basically like, "Listen, you asked to be back in my class, right? You hadn't been there a lot, and you have to get your stuff done. If you don't, then you're going to fail my class." And I told not just this one student, but I told all of them. I said, "Listen, I have specific guidelines, and if you don't follow them, it's going to cost you. You really need to make sure that you're being intentional because you're not looking at the long term effects. Everything that we do now is to help us be ready for what happens in the real situations. What's going to end up happening is that you're going to try to skirt through here in my classes or even in your other classes. And you'll get through, you'll pass, but then you're going to get an opportunity to work for a company. And you're going to get embarrassed when you go to that company and you don't have a process in place to be successful. And then you're going to be pissed off at the person that fires you because they look at you and they say, "You're not ready to take on these responsibilities." And in all reality, the problem is not them, the problem is you, because you did not take advantage of what was being put out to you, even though multiple people told you. Yeah, I mean, but that's one of those things, when we're teaching in classes, and this is one of the reasons why I prefer teaching in person versus teaching online. When you're in front of somebody and you're in their face, they can tell if you're serious or not about the information that you are dropping. And my students really know that my where my heart lies and what I want them to get out of what I'm teaching. So they're just they take it all in and they make decisions. Some of them fail, but usually they'll give those kind of students to me because I can weed them out pretty quickly. I can weed out people that really don't want to do this. They're there more for, a credit versus getting the knowledge. And I'd prefer to weed those people out because I don't want those people in this industry if they don't want to do it. And the other part is that even if you decide that you don't want to be in this industry, those processes that you learn in my classes can help you in other fields. Because even if you're a chef, if you are a manager, you still have to have those processes in place. What's going on, in dog? You have to have you have to have not just personal accountability, but you have to have structure. And a lot of these kids that I see nowadays, they don't have it. One, they haven't been taught it. Number two, they just nobody really put them to the through the coals or rake them through the coals to show them how to do it. But that's okay. I mean, I'd rather have them in my class. I can be very real with them and help them through this, or they can just move on. Sorry, I'm trying to just find a reference for this spawn. Um, that yeah, that'll work because I have a lot of them with the face mask. Yeah, but even though they have that convenience, they have to us as parents, and this is part of the parenting, is that we have to teach them how to solve problems, even though convenience is there. Okay, well, if I don't have money, what do I have to do in order to do that? If I want to get a job, what do I need in order to get that job? You, me, and our generation, we learned how to do resumes, we learned how to write things longhand, all that kind of good stuff. These kids, even though they have these resources, they don't utilize them properly. I mean, I told a kid the other day, when I was in class, I said, you may not be the best writer in the world, and that's perfectly fine. But what you could do is there's dictation softwares that you can use, and a lot of us can talk faster than we can type. So why don't you just talk into it, get it to dictate out what your thoughts, and then you just go back through there and you clean them up. I said when I was writing my thesis, a lot of my thesis that I did, I would just sit or walk around, put out my thoughts, and that I refined and I got my final paper. Strangely enough, when people would read it, they'd be like, this is really good. But I was very clear when I could just talk it out. And that's just one of the many tools that are available to them. But what ends up happening a lot of times now is our kids end up utilizing services. And I bring up AI a lot because this is what the norm is starting to become. But they'll jump into AI, they'll put in their little prompt, they will then use whatever information that prompt gave them and turn that in. And the worst part about it is, and I mean with some, this is not all teachers, but some instructors will be like, okay, they hit the page count, cool. They got the material down there, cool. All right, and that's it. They don't really read through it and give back critique. So we have lazy teachers too. I make my students write papers on purpose. I'm literally having my students write stories longhand now because I want to see their thought process. I mean, AI and in general, I mean, AI and these automated systems have made things so hard for our kids. But we as a society have kind of pushed this, you know, the fact that we want more, we have to build systems that can handle that. And unfortunately, humans, because they're getting lazier, have really pushed automation and AI to the forefront. Those prints are 11 by 17. And just so you know, on those turtle prints, I have um, not only the colored versions, but I also have black and white versions of them too. So they're all black and white, but the headbands are red. Yeah, but we just got to teach. We got to teach them and make them better. I've been fighting with the idea of going back into or going into the public school system. I really don't want to, but I think it might be a good move down the road. We'll see. I can absolutely do a remark on that. 100%. You name whatever character you want on there, and I'll go and throw it on there for you. You too. Take care. And again, I hope you start getting even better. Hope you're back at 100% by next week. I'll say a prayer for you. Get this forced perspective of this leg. I thought he had this thing on his other leg. So I take it, Batcave, you're a big fan of turtles. Trying to think, do I have a Batman in there? I don't have any Batman, right? Oh yeah, I do. I don't know if it's on there or not, but there's a Batman joke. There's a Batman Superman piece. Let me see if I have it on my website real quick. Should. So if you like Joker as well, there's one there. The Crazy Joker. Which part were you asking about, Gabe? And then there's this one here. So I did those. Those were combo pieces that I did. So it was a Batman Joker, and then this one's a Batman Superman. Yep, I thought I'd just give you a couple of options there if you're interested in any of that stuff. Yeah, the surprisingly enough, the fact that you bring up the turtles and whatnot, the turtles, there's a turtle piece that I have that has all four turtles on it. That one is 11 by 17. It's just basically they're cut down, so they're like sitting in four different columns. So that one's 11 by 17. That one's my bestseller, and then also that Joker, Joker Batman was my bestseller too. Okay, so I'm trying to get this arm of his ready to rock. And his man, I thought that the chains came from a different spot, but I guess they come from his waist. Let me put it in the chat so that way you have it. I'm actually going to give you the link for the page. Actually, the link won't work that way because they don't like links in here. Let's see here. Cool. Put it in the show. Okay. So that's the website. If you go to that website and you go under artwork, that'll show the work there. But I got to get those prints up there. I didn't realize I didn't have them on that page. So he's got this big old thing that's on his arm. Yeah, I figured I'd go ahead and get one of the ones that I know that won't take me very long to do. Get this out of the way and go from there. I don't know. This one's going to take up a lot of space. So I don't know if I'm going to do background on this one. Oh, but you're going to get to see the chain process today, Gabe. That'll be cool. Since you wanted to see that. You can see how he's coming together. I think I might put him with his blade. I think I might do that. I think I might use the sword that he had. He only had it for a little bit, so I gotta find a picture of it. Let's go spawn, and we're gonna go. Who did that? John Boy. What's going on, Hunter? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I think I'm going to give him the sword because I always like drawing blades and whatnot. So this is actually going to work out really, really well. So I just got to figure out how to get the blade like this. So his hand actually has to go here, like this. We're going to have to mess around with that. Yeah, I would just go to that page. I mean, if there's anything that you're wanting to take a look at, let me know and I'll make sure I get it over to you. In fact, what I'll do to make your life a little easier, I have all of those pieces. I'll send it to you in a message so that way you can see all those. We'll make it a little simpler. Yeah, I don't want to make it too big. So you go like this. All right. So now I got to turn this around. I don't have a combo. Those two were done separately. So I have all the turtles. I have Shredder. I have Splinter, April O'Neil, Casey Jones, um, Rocksteady Bebop. I also have a Baxter Stockman and a Crane. I got to see if I have any of the Baxter Stockman left in my inventory because I'm not sure. But if there's any of those that you want to see, I mean, I'll definitely get all those to you. So we're looking good here. Okay. I'm going to turn this a little bit so I can see what I'm doing for this head. Yeah, I gotta get these pieces done. I have some pieces that are on my list. I gotta get knocked out coming up here soon. So this weekend I'm gonna go get a Transformers piece because I want to redo something that I did. So I did this Blaster versus Soundwave piece. I thought it looked good when I first did it, but I got it done, I put it away. and I revisited it because I was getting ready to drop it off for one of the clients that bought it from me. Unfortunately, like, when you go back to certain things and you look at them, you're like, that was great when I was doing it, but I can tell there's things that are off and I don't like it. And when I do that, even though I'm my own worst critic, it only happens a few times where I really am just not happy with the final product. I.e., when I did this guy here, or when I did what's going on, Black Knight. Um, i.e., when I did that one and I did a Hulk piece, I was just like, I can't, because I'm fighting myself. I don't like it. Thank you so much. Um, so I'm going to go buy another Transformers cover and I'm going to redo it. And I have no doubt, especially now that I've been kind of like on like cooking lately with some of these pieces, I'm going to make a really good one out of that. And then I can drop that off next week and I can send a picture of him. I'm going to send the guy both pictures. I'll be like, okay, well, this was your original. This is your new one. Well, this morning I worked on a Spider-Man. So since you're new here to this one, I'm going to give you the whole spiel. So I have this guy right here. This is my Road to 1000. This is my first book, Road to 1000. So the goal is I'm doing 1,000 sketch cards, and within those sketch cards, I have 10 different categories, and there's 100 cards per category. So this just gives you an idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going kind of like the classic route of doing these kind of cards. You kind of see like I got them all A through Z. This is just the marble set, so this is the first series that I'm doing. I have a few more that I got doing here, but I'm slowly but surely getting through the marble set. So the goal is to get them all done in a year, and hopefully that'll get done. But this is the one that I did this morning. I knocked out the Silver Surfer the day before. I did a Punisher. We did an Omega Red. I did a Night Crawler, Moon Knight, did Mantis as well. So I'm getting through those with the goal to, the cards will either be sold, they can be purchased, or they can, people can request cards to be done. But the goal is to finish the 1,000 cards. That's my focus. Well, yeah, I mean, I started in November, and the goal is to finish up by November. I mean that's my soft date, but things can always change because I have to do commissions, and I have a life outside of just doing the artwork. So I want to make sure that I have a good balance. Yeah, I try to stay as busy as possible when it comes to my art. I just listed a sketch cover, shields for artists. Really? That's really cool. I'm going to take a look at that once I get done with my stream today. Yeah, I mean, this community is pretty cool. I try to, the goal of my channel, is to educate, and also just to talk and have some fun, and hopefully somebody learns from what I do, as far as like they could add to their skill set. I will never say I have all the answers, but I do have a lot of good answers for people. Okay, so that's good. That's done. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, you should definitely. Yeah, always get your stuff out there. That's very important. You never know who's watching. Okay, let's grab some reference stuff. Oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Uh, I was taking a look at Angel Medina's Spawn just so I could get an idea, but I don't like it because it doesn't have enough of the things that I need, like the tidbits. Um, Crickle Spawn covers. Yeah, I want to do a collab with a whole bunch of artists. That's what I'm going to do down the road. So a guy I follow do something like that. Yeah, I want to do a collab, but the goal with the collab is that we all the artists, you know, put their little pieces into it, and then we're able to sell off the piece, and everybody gets a little slice of the pie. Oh, that's really cool. See, anybody that's got that skill, that's time consuming. Yeah, this guy I follow, he's a YouTuber. His name is 1000. Um, he's a graffiti artist out of he's out of Ohio now, I believe. But he originally was from like Seattle. He used to live here in Florida. Oh, very cool. Yeah, but he did one, and basically it started off with a piece of wood, and then it ended up turning into a folded piece of art because one of the artists was like, "I want to add my thing to this," and I was like, "Okay, let's see what you got." And that person threw down. It was insane. What's up, Marsh? Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. Okay, let's get the details of his chest in place because I think we're good. Yeah, that would be really cool. I would love to see people do that. Like that's I think that would be really dope to see overall. Yeah, whenever you can see people pull off good collabs, it's an amazing treat. Sorry, I'm still trying to find a good reference for this guy. Is that gonna work? No. I might have to actually go to Todd's original one. I'm looking for how these pieces on the front of him look. And I can't seem to find one I like. How that'll work. What's this? What about a bunch of remarks? Oops, 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 don't do that. What's that again? With my hand arched over? Yeah, that would be really cool if all of us do something like that. I would just want to see a really dope piece of artwork. That's my thing. Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, at the end of the day, just having a collaboration like that, it'd just be remarkable. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but and I would love to see artists do this as well. But years ago, there was a book called Image United, and it was a bunch of different image artists, like the original artists, right? Came in there, did they had layouts. So Eric Larson would do the layouts, and each person would have to draw their own character. So, like if Youngblood was in there on a page with Spawn, Rob Liefeld would have to draw the Youngblood characters, and then Todd McFarlane would have to draw his Spawn. So it's a great collaboration between their arts. It never finished, but it was a very cool idea. So you could literally have like four different artists on one single page of of sequential art. I would love to see somebody pull that one off, but it would take time to make that work. But on a single piece, I definitely could see it happening a lot easier. Yeah, it'd almost be like a quilt, but with illustration. But the thing that people would have to do is they couldn't do um like um known characters. I would like to see people do stuff that's not licensed to other companies. Like if they had stuff of their own on there, that would be preferred because then you don't run into a copyright issue unless the people already have their characters copyrighted. Obviously, you would not want to put something like that on there. Yeah, I mean, that would be really, really. I mean, the quality of seeing people do that, because I've seen a lot of people even on here. I'm like, man, I would love to do something like that with them. I really would, because I know it would pop off and it would be so grand. Man, this dude did not know what he was getting when he ordered this. Yep, it is. Very much agreed on that. Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, I mean, doing a collab like that would be really cool. That at the end of the day, that's my whole thing. I would love to do, and I think I will probably try to um, work with a couple people to do that because I think it would be just be really cool to see it come to fruition. All right, let's see. Let's turn on my chains, and I'm going to send this to myself. Oops, what did I do that for? All right, cool. I got what I needed. I am back. All right. Sorry about that. I had to grab my reference so I can get these chains in here because it's about to get crazy. All right. Yeah, that's the part that really is rough. I don't like that part of it. The it has to be something that all people have to be on the same page of. You can't fuck over people like that. That's just not cool. All right, so we're gonna put the chain here. We're gonna wrap it around his back. It's gonna come this way and then down here. I think that'll work. That's one chain. And I think I might have it go down the spine so it comes out on the back side. I think that'll be cool. So it'll be on the back side of that just a little bit. Yeah, I am doing definitely this piece with custom. He requested this particular piece, and I'll be honest with you, when it comes to doing characters like Spawn, I'm all in. You got me in. And I told him like I'm gonna smash this piece because it's Spawn. You can't really not give it justice. How did you guess it was him? Yeah, I mean he's got a very very unique skill. Like it's pretty insane. Yeah, I mean, if anything, just you know, come up with something that you can do on here. You just spark a couple of bucks, and then you can just get rolling. Like I do this, and this brings in a little extra, income for myself. Hold on, this one goes this way. Okay, yep. Gotta make sure I'm not screwing this up. All right, Gabe, you're getting to see the whole process on how I'm doing this. All right, so I got the hard part out of the way. So let's get into the chain part. This is the part that can get a little funky. I'll make sure I do this right. All right, so basically what I do is I make rectangles for all of the chains that I'm going to put in, or the chain links. And obviously, as they go further back, they get smaller and smaller. The gap gets smaller and smaller. I don't think he's going to mind one of those. Okay, so this is where the opening up the book comes into play. And I don't really like doing this, especially when it's a book that I've never opened. But I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. There's a little bit of chain that's going to end up on the back part of the book, but that's okay. Because I learned from an artist friend of mine. Um, he's like, you need to just draw through. Draw as if it is there. That's the biggest thing. You got to draw through everything. So you can see how I'm like drawing through the character. So that way I'm not guessing on where things are at. All right. So I got all of that. And now I'm going this way. Am I smudging my lines? I don't feel like I am. I try to keep things pretty clean. So I'm gonna probably put in the chains when I do the inking part. I'm probably popping the chains first, and then I'll work on the character last. All right, so this is where you get to see the chain stuff work. Yeah, I mean, I keep my wrist pretty straight when I'm drawing. I try to when I'm doing my sketching, I try to keep my arm pretty loose so that way I don't hurt my arm. All right, so here's the thing with the chains, they link right like this. They don't lay flat against each other. So this is where you have to keep that in mind. They are a 3D piece, so you want to have them like they're linked together. And I can bend these over on top of each other, and then that way I can show the other side of the chain. No, you have when you're drawing chains, you have to put in the work. Like if you want them to really pop off the paper, you really have to do some work. So like when you make these turns like this turn right here, so now it looks like it's so when you're looking at that one, so this one looks like it's moving at you, which is what I wanted. That's the one thing about like if you're drawing Spawn specifically, and if you're drawing Ghost Rider, because Ghost Rider's got that chain whip. Um, you really don't want to short. You don't want to shorten it. You really want to make it look like it's got a lot of movement to it, like it's got its own life. I mean, you could cheat and make it very flat, but why would you want to do that? I mean, if you're doing a piece, why would you want to just make it look like booty? I guess that's the best word to use. I want my stuff to look like it's supposed to be there. Even if it's an illustration, I really want it to look strong. Yeah, I mean, I try my stuff is on an angle as it is, so it's good to have that. So when I'm building my new table, it's going to have that riser on, and I'm trying to get it so I can put an actuator in there, so I don't have to manually do it. I'd rather have the actuator only because I can get better angles. So instead of doing like a straight up 45-degree or something like that, degrees, and that would be a lot more comfortable. Yes, definitely, please. All right, so I think that looks pretty serious. That looks like we're in a good spot. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to take a picture of it because I gotta have this go to Insta. Wow, I wish everybody could get that kind of treatment. So I was just saw a post. So um, they were talking about the Savannah Guthrie, her mom disappearing. And I'm like, I wish everybody could get that treatment. I don't look. I don't knock Savannah Guthrie. I think she's a very good reporter. She was a good lawyer. However, I feel like sometimes I wish everybody could get the same treatment. All right, let's go.
So y'all saw what was floating over the ocean in Sydney, Australia this weekend, right? The black terrifying mass that was floating over the ocean. No?
All right, we're going hard. This one only has to be black and white, which I really like because I can just go crazy with the solids colors. And I go chunky. Yeah, I'm trying to get this guy out today.
Not a believer, then we're with you as well. That's what this is supposed to be about. Not dividing people, not talking about Democrats versus Republicans, not complaining about an election that we're.
Oh my god, that is insane. Just saw somebody make a see Death from Darksiders. Love that character. All right, let me throw something on here that I can put in the background that's like not going to mess with me. All right, let me take a look real quick. Oh, I don't see the picture, my friend. Oh, there we go. That's crazy. That's a lot of chains. That is a lot of chains. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of chains. Chain Man and the Chain Gang. That's it, right? I love it. It's great.
Most people think the work happens in the gym, but it actually starts in your blood vessels. I think
All
maybe
right.
a plant-based.
It looked like you were going to put your gloves down, but then you didn't. You put them back on. What is that?
I don't know. Oh, what's your story? Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Stephanie and feel the power. That would have made my wife if she was like a Georgia Tech fan.
It's like you just
Screwed it all up.
conversation doesn't even start.
Yeah. Because she thought it was cute. She literally had a Georgia Tech sweater.
Oh.
And I was like, hey, Maggie.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I know it's easy to do. I gotta do it. The weird part was is I used to do 5x7 cards, and they didn't do as good on here. For some reason, everybody likes the sketch cards more so. Wow, that's crazy that somebody else made that. Like AI made that. I honestly thought that that was a an artist that did that. This is sickness, man. I love this piece. Look at the time was okay. So we're looking at 10:30. So I'll go to 11. Was going to go to 11:30, but that's okay. I mean, I just want to make sure I got enough time to go do the things I got to do today. Last week, I was actually late to class. So I had a 2 o'clock class. I didn't get there until 2:30 because I messed up on my class schedule. Congratulations. Hang on one second, guys. I'll be right back. I gotta go grab a charger for this. Be right back. All right. We are back. I'm glad you guys are connecting. That's cool. Very, very cool. All right, I think. Yeah, I think we're gonna use a 2. Oh, my computer died. All right, so let me go over here. Go to the show. Okay, let's go open. I'm glad that you guys are knocking that out. That's very cool. Turn this off. All right, like I said, I'm going to start knocking out these chains really fast, and we'll go from there. We'll start with this chain on the bottom. Man, I just saw a preview for a new Alan Richardson movie. So if you guys aren't familiar with that guy, he's the guy that plays Reacher, playing for the last 3 seasons. Really big dude. But just overall, just actually, he's pretty entertaining. I remember seeing him in Smallville years ago. Didn't really have that much of a presence, but now he definitely does. Because I think he found his niche. He found where it works. Well, here's the thing. I mean, if you are coming at it from a sense that you want him to look like the cartoon character, yeah, that would work. But we don't need to have anybody that's super big. I mean, we just need to have somebody that can do the role right. That's where from the perspective I'm taking it. Because a good example of it is if you take a look at Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's not accurate to Wolverine. Like he didn't look like Wolverine. And you'll notice, like over time, like the first movie they tried to give him the hair that looked like Wolverine, that didn't work. So they gave him like normal hair. Um, and all the way to like Logan, like when he was in Logan, he didn't have that weird looking hair. He had normal old man hair. They tried to do it for Deadpool Wolverine, but they kind of tapered it down a little bit. So being like comic book accurate sometimes doesn't work. The thing that they have to do for this is they have to make a good movie. They just have to make a good movie. And I think it's going to work with that. You know, if yeah, I mean the Dolph Lundgren one, I was so excited to see it, but when I saw it, I was like, "What is this? Like, I don't understand what you're doing." And it took him a long time to give us another live action He-Man. But I feel like this director is definitely got his finger on the pulse of how to handle characters like this. That's why, like, when he was given the shot to do Bumblebee, I was like, why of all the characters would you pick would you do Bumblebee? But when he did it, it worked and it was really good. It's the first time in a long time that I can say that I saw Optimus Prime in a battle and I was like, he looks great. He looks like my Optimus Prime. I don't take anything away from the people that created the Transformers movies at all. I just, when I look at Optimus Prime, he looks way different than what I thought he would look like. But let's put it this way: if we get a good He-Man movie, it opens the door for us to finally be able to get a Thundercats movie. I mean, let's look at like Turtles, right? I don't know if you've been looking, but there's an artist out there, a visual artist that did some test footage for some fight scenes with Leonardo, Raphael, and Donatello. It just popped up on the internet like a week or so ago. And it was great. Yeah, don't get me on that ride about the Megatron one. I Oh my god, that pisses me off. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find it. And I mean, the test footage out there, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, and all that stuff. But it is awesome. But to reply to your Megatron thing, I don't know what they were doing with that. However, I heard rumor that they're trying to do like this reunion movie with Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, and some of the other casts from the original movies, and of course bringing back our famous Transformers, and trying to do a movie with that. And Michael Bay is supposed to be attached to it. Now, the Michael Bay part worries me because I need Michael Bay to give me a Michael Bay good story. Like really give me a good story. Um, like Pain and Gain was a great story. The original Transformers movie was a great story and great visuals. Do that for me. Don't try to, give me so much like all this flashbang trying to spend all this money stuff. I need a good story. That's where Michael Bay can really pull off some stuff if he was to give us that. Like if he was to go back to like was it 12 Hours in Benghazi? That movie was fucking amazing. Like I can put that thing on anytime and I can watch it. It's a great movie. I need that kind of feel. This long-winded directing of a movie. I mean, we all know that the last two were horrible. Even the third movie when they were battling in Chicago, that was just like it was a lot. You're almost 3 hours just like constant, you know, blow up porn. I mean, that's basically what it was. I'm good with not having all that. I'd prefer to have a very tight setup story. And honestly, I would love to have Shia LaBeouf back. I mean, a lot of people don't like him, but as far as an actor, he is a very talented actor, and he really did good in that role. And it would be kind of cool to see him moving forward because he's grown as an actor, he's grown as a person, he's has a lot of personal trials, and they could use that to kind of really push his character to what he's been doing while he's been away, and bring that love back together between him and Megan Fox. So I think there's a lot that they could do there. So there's that. But I am looking forward to this He-Man movie. I'm cautiously optimistic. But if it's anything like what they did for the marketing for it to just do their trailer, I'm all in. I mean, I just saw the teaser trailer for it, the one that they did the night before they dropped the main trailer, and it felt so nostalgic. Like we needed this in the '90s or in the '80s, and now we need this now. I mean, it could be pretty good. And everybody looks good in there. I mean, I think minus Skeletor, I think everybody else looks good. Man at Arms looks cool. Um, Beast Man looks really cool. I don't know about Battle Cat yet because they haven't shown him, but we'll probably get a glimpse of that over these next couple of trailers that they drop. But yes, to your point, the original one was Boohoo. Not my favorite at all. Cover that in blacks. Yeah, I would definitely tell you, jump on YouTube, check it out. It's actually a fun trailer. It starts off silly. Like they play into the fact that, he is he's on Earth. He goes into a cosplay or into a comic book store to grab his sword, and you can see him like yanking on it. So it's silly, but it also has that adventure side of it, which I'm looking forward to. I don't want the movie to be campy. I want the movie to have some consequences in it. I want it to have a lot of action in it. I wanted to hear that, he says the words, "I've got the power." He does it, but I'll be honest with you, they need to go back to that trailer and they need to fix it and give him a lot more pop. Because you know how when you heard, you know, He-Man go like, "I have the power," that part, it was almost like reverberating. When you hear him do it in the trailer, it's not the same. It doesn't have the pump. Now I have to put the elephant. I have to talk about the elephant in the room, and I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but there's a trailer out there um, for Street Fighter. Now I felt like when I saw the trailer for Street Fighter, I was getting punked, and I still think to this day I am. But the closer it gets to its launch date next or in the summertime, if they don't show me something different, I feel like it's going to bomb hard. I'm not a fan of the people that they chose to play in the movie. The people that, not all of them. Some of them, like Ken and Ryu, I can go with it. Um, I'm not really big on the fact that they got Roman Reigns to play Akuma, and I'm not a big fan of the fact that they got Cody Rhodes to play Guile. I don't understand their choices on that. 50 Cent I can kind of buy a little bit. But again, I got to see how he's playing in the movie. But there was a part in the trailer where they had Guile do the flip, and I'm like, I feel the '90s movie all over again, and I really hated that '90s Street Fighter movie. I wanted it to be so good, I really did. I went to go see it a couple times only because there's a couple of characters in there I liked, but it was bad, like really bad, and to the point where it really made me mad. And if this movie is going that direction, I will not spend my money to watch it at all. Like $0. Um, I also saw the trailer for The Mandalorian. I'm frustrated that they even made it, but I'm even more frustrated when I saw what they did. And I was hoping that it wasn't going to look like what it looks like. So, The Mandalorian, number one, the biggest problem with it is that The Mandalorian is only really in the zeitgeist of those people that are in the realm of Star Wars, that are deeply seated and they've watched the show. The only people really that know some of the characters, they know Grogu because they've seen Grogu. He's the most popular character that came out of that. Um, but they made a show, or they made a movie based upon a show. And the one thing I didn't want to see is show quality. So when you go into a movie, you want it to feel like it's got cinematic, value to it. It's got cinematic visuals to it. This does not. It literally looks like a um a Disney Plus show. It's got a lot of feels for a Disney Plus show. Now that, again, this is all based upon a trailer that I've seen so far. I don't know how the movie's going to be. I really have no clue. I'm hoping it will be good. I don't want to see it because I was not a Mandalorian fan, so I'm not going to go see it. Um, but I can only hope that the movie does well. I don't think it's going to. I think if they were going to make a Mandalorian movie, they should have made it like years ago when it was hot, but they should have planned for it. Like, somebody should already have had a script ready to rock and roll, and they should have made it off of that. But nobody did. Nobody had the foresight to really do that. But we'll see how it all, plays out. I feel like if they were going to do something, they should not have done that first. They should have done that as, when Kathleen Kennedy was doing her side stories, you know, like when they did the solo movie and stuff like that, when they were doing those side stories, that would have been a good side story. Yeah, Todd keeps on talking about that. I just heard him when I saw him last year. He talked about, he's like, the script is done, ready to rock and roll. I'm like, dude, man, you've been saying this for years. What is going on? I agree. Like, um, I would love to see a Spawn movie. I just don't want to see another one like the first one he did. I need it to be dark. I need it to not be silly. I need it to be set up so that way it's ready for a sequel. Like, people are clamoring for a sequel. That's what I need it to have, because they're not going to have enough time to really make people buy into this thing the first go around. It's going to take some time to build it up, but give them enough to make them want to see more. And you drop that thing during October, and it's gonna do well. But it has to be a dark, violent Spawn movie. And if you really, honestly, if they took it from the original book, like if you take the very first book and you take it and you design it around that, you might have a great movie. You literally have Spawn coming out of nowhere, and it starts off with him in the streets, and he's saving that girl from being raped. You have a violent start to it, and then you get to kind of see his journey to where he is. And then at the very end of the movie, you have him sitting watching guard. But you got to figure out what the big bad is going to be. Is he going to fight Violator? Yeah, I mean, it has to be dark. It really does. And honestly, you don't even really need to show all of Spawn. If you could just show like the action pieces of him, like you've got the chains and you have the red cape, and keep him a bit of a mystery, it'll be good. You know, if Todd really wants to make it work, he might want to consider, instead of trying to hit the movies, go back to the animation piece and do an animated one. Contact Amazon and be like, Amazon, I got a great idea. We're going to go ahead and do a series. Yeah. But who do you put Spawn against? I think that's where the problem lie. Like, who is he going to fight? Because he's a supernatural character. So do you bring out Violator right out the gate? And you basically do the arc of the first four books, and then you end with Malbolgia popping up, basically telling him to stop. Where do you go? I don't know how you really make that work. And if you put in Calibretto to, or the one Archangel that's in there, and you put him in like they did in the first movie, you're messing up stuff. I just don't know where they would go with it. It just, there's so many things that they're unknowns. I mean, because you have to do the setup. We have to understand what his motivation is, why he came back to Earth, right? So you got to develop that. But if you start it where he, you know, is lost, he's looking for his wife. Heck, you could start it in hell. You know, that's, I don't know. There's so many different ways to take that. So many different ways. Does this thing come back on? Oh, perfect. We're good to go. Okay. Sorry, I just had to get my other camera up here so I can start doing my time lapse. All right. Let's get you down here. Bam. Cool. All right, let's get going. Yeah, I was trying to get this thing to time lapse so I could get this video because I really want it. Should have started it from the beginning, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't know what Todd McFarlane's stuff is. I don't know why it's been so hard for him to finish up this movie. I can only imagine that somebody is having the same questions that I am, especially with the movie market as it is right now. Hey, take care. Have yourself a great day. Nice meeting you, by the way. Um, I can only imagine, like, with the studios the way that they are, right? Now, he was supposed to be teaming up with Blumhouse, and Blumhouse has had a couple of, poo poo movies lately. Megan 2 was a crap show. But their record overall is really good. Smile 2 did really good. Um, the phone booth 2 did good. So they have more wins than they have misses. So with that being said, if Todd is able to secure the funding to make the movie work, keep it low budget. Like, if you're able to keep it under like $100 million, if you can do that and make it dark, you just use a lot of tricks in order to keep it dark. You don't have to use a ton of special effects. Worry about focusing on the story of the people, right? And use the effects when you need them, or you
team up with somebody that has an effects house, and you work a deal, and you save the big stuff for later. As of right now, I'll be honest with you, no studio is going to give him like $150 million budget. It's just not going to happen. Um, but I think a studio would be willing to give them $50 million to make a good movie. I really think that's reasonable. But it has to be the right movie. And it's going to take a lot of work on Todd's part to promote this movie and get people behind it. Because remember, Spawn is not as hot as it used to be when it was the 90s. That's one of the reasons why the movie was able to be successful. Not overly successful, but successful, because it was popular. But now it's a little harder because unless you happen to be in the comic sphere, you don't know about it. So if my wife, who doesn't read this book, doesn't know anything about it, she's less likely to go see it. And remember, people are less likely to go to the movies now because they could wait 2 weeks and then they'll be able to stream it. So why would I want to spend $100 at a movie theater when I can just spend $20 at my house? I mean, it's like a no-brainer. Okay. I think we're looking good here. Am I looking at time wise? Okay. I'm going to go another 5 minutes, and then I'll have to call it. But those are things that, that I think are holding up this whole Spawn thing from being done. I've been wanting to see this movie since he announced it multiple years ago. But, he's having a hard time. I mean, the one thing I know that he wants to do is that he wants to help fund it, which I think is a smart move because he has the money to do it. But he just needs to get a little more money to get him over that hump. Because even though he's going to, put a lot of his dollars behind it so he can have more say in it, he still needs to get people on board. And the more time that goes between now and him producing the movie, the less likely he's going to get the funding to make it work. What's going on, Jose? Case in point, like if you were to go ahead and go to a studio and be like, hey, yeah, I want to create an Invincible movie. A studio would be like, okay, Invincible's working on Amazon. It's been great. The book is fabulous. The writer, killed it. Robert Kirkman and his crew killed it. Okay, let's see. What do you got? Let's figure it out. Send me your scripts. They're more likely to do something like that. I am here, my friend. I'm just working on the Spawn piece. Got all the major parts all done. Wrap up here in just about 5 minutes because I've got to go to my regular job and go teach. All right. But getting through this one pretty good. Didn't take too long to get this done. I think it probably about an hour or so. I've been working on this. while talking. Oh, I definitely need to give him his band. But yeah, I mean, that again is one of those movies I really, really, really want to see happen. Make for a really good horror movie. Look, if they can make Scream work, they can make a Spawn movie work. But people need to get off their ass and make something happen. And it's going to take a lot of time for that to go down. I mean, keep in mind, Todd has done really, really good with his books. Um, they still sell. They sell well, and I'm not just talking about one. I'm talking about all of them. So he's doing well. He doesn't have an issue there. Okay, I got to get this One Piece. Hang on one second, guys. I got to grab a reference real fast. See, I think even if I'm gonna keep on bringing up the Spawn stuff, but I think even if he was to, if you did it kind of like you ever seen Underworld? If you did something like that, that might work. What's up, M Dog? Welcome back, buddy. Like, I think if he did something like an Underworld, that would probably work. Because I don't believe Underworld was too expensive, but it really, really worked. Thank you for the Spawn reply. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, just trying to knock this one down. Had a request for this one, and it's a collaboration, so he's gonna actually refine this by doing like negative space cutouts, which is going to be really cool. It's one of my really, like, I would say, custom was a blessing coming through and picking up some of the stuff that he picked up. Work that I'd had sitting for a while, he picked up. So he got the Rocket Raccoon, he got my Spider-Man, he got a Bishop that I made a couple months ago. All those really good books. And then he's going to be able to, put his spin on some of it, and it's going to look really cool. Like, I think his work is very unique. So basically, what he does is he takes the black, he cuts out that part, and then you're able to see what's behind it. So it's like a custom cutout. But how he does it is it's very unique. I mean, I would say, his name goes very well with the custom piece. It is very custom. But I think he's gonna have a wild time with this one. I'm looking forward to seeing the final rendering of what he does with this. But the good thing is, I only have to do this one in black and white, so he can do his magic. So it definitely saves me some time.
Okay, so we're going to go here. Yeah, we're looking really good. Okay, I think we're looking really in a good spot for a stopping point. Can't stop noodling at it. It's so hard. I'm just trying to get in my little black pieces so that way I know where I'm supposed to go. I just can't stop because I really want to see what happens. That one's got black, and then that'll have black. Yeah, I think he's going to look really good once everything's said and done. Yeah, put the old X's in there so that way we know where our inks are supposed to go. So he's going to have a nice little chunky outline on there. It'll look really good. What's going on, Manny? Welcome to the stream. Knocking out this spawn today. That's the goal. And I think I gotta stop because if I don't stop, I will keep working at this until I run out of time, and I can't have that happen. I got to get out of here so I can do some other stuff. All right, guys. So I got to go ahead and call it as much as I don't want to, but I will catch you tomorrow. I should be back on here between 8 and 8:30 my time, Eastern time. So I will see you then. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing some cool art from you guys. Take care.